Welcome to the final session of business analytics using the R language. In today's session, we will cover advanced data visualization, data mining, and advanced topics like text mining and social media analysis. Let's start R. Okay. Let's do library lattice, right? Then do this function cloud. Look at this function called cloud. Where it's a generic function to draw 3D scatter plots and surfaces. Right. This will need something like a formula. Okay. So one trick that we can do is, instead of writing iris dollar sepal length, iris dollar petal length, iris dollar species, I can say attach iris. Once I do that, all the column names are directly attached, so I don't need to specify the data frame name and dollar, right? Then I can do cloud, say iris, say sepal length, the function of sepal width plus petal length, right? Data is equal to iris. Look at this. I am getting a 3D diagram. This is a lattice library, right? What if I just did it with sepal length and sepal width? Right? You will find it won't run because it's 3D function, right? So I need at least 3 dimensions. Yeah. And I put this as a formula. What if I want to bifurcate by species? So I get different functions for different species. Cloud, sepal length, function of sepal width plus petal length. Then you use the OR sign for species. Data is equal to iris. I can also use wireframe. Right. So you need to specifically do 3. Why? Because it's 3D model, right? You can't do it for 2 dimensions or single dimension. Second thing in lattice is the XY plot. XY plot. I can see XY, X data, right? You can see there are different kinds of plot here. XY plot, dot plot, bar chart, strip plot, right? So we'll do all of this. Then we need a formula here, right? So let's do XY plot here. Look at this. Function is the same as just do instead of doing cloud, I did XY plot. Basically, you created a scatter kind of a diagram. This is a formula where says sepal length is dependent on sepal width and petal width. Now look at this. The two colors, basically the three colors actually, they signify the different species. What do the two colors signify? They signify sepal width and petal length. If I did sepal width plus petal length, I got this. So this is sepal width and this is petal length, right? Notice they are on the same y-axis, right? So I can put a formula also, but this will probably be better for you to understand, right? So you can see how these three things are different. This is slightly better than the scatter plot. Let's do a BW plot. You can see the difference in this. You see how the small box plots that you can see how the spread is. This is how it was. You see the point of overscattering. If you do a BW plot, you will find the point of overscattering. You will find the range. Let's go to the help. What does the BW plot do? So BW plot produces box and whisker plots. XY produce bilateral scatter plots. Dot plot will give dot plots, bar chart, bar plot, strip plot, one dimensional scatter plots. So okay, let's do this. You see box and whiskers. This is a box plot with whiskers. On the same function, on the same formula. Let's do dot plot. This is how a dot plot is looking like. Notice how dot plot varies from a XY plot, right? This is a XY plot and this is a dot plot. No, they are not the same, right? Bar chart produces bar plots. So let's do same formula. There it's a dot, that is the scatter. Look, you have produced a bar chart. What's the formula here? Bar chart. Notice at this point, this is species. I am dividing by species. Suppose I did not divide by species. This is how it would look, right? And if I did the dot plot without the species, this is how the dot plot will look, right? Just I have added to the formula by species. What about strip plot? Can I do strip plot on two objects? right? What's the difference between a strip plot and a XY plot? Come to the help. Strip plot produce one dimensional scatter plots. XY plot is meant for bivariate scatter plots or time series plot. Right? This is the lattice. Let's come to the ggplot library. Right? Let's do qplot iris dollar or say steeple length, because you have already attached with petal length or say species. This is a qplot. It's a quick plot. It's done in ggplot2. Notice the background is gray. It's easier to make out the values because in the gray background, contrast is there, the white lines are also there, so 5, 5.5, 6, So this is based upon Edward Tufte principles and the grammar of graphics. Now what if I want doing ggplot? I will say ggplot aesthetics x equal to sepal length, y is equal to then data equal to iris. Okay, now I can do ggplot plus geom underscore point, or how should I call it? A plus geom underscore point, right? What if I wanted to color it by species? Color equal to species, right? A plus geometric point. Now look, this is so aesthetically pleasing as well as it's easy for me to make out. 4, this is 5, this small line, white line is 5. So I can see straight away Virginica is a longer flower in terms of petals, right? Because they are very separated from Setosa. How did I come here? I did ggplot, put in the aesthetics, x-axis, y-axis, color, then the data point, then I did a geometric point. Suppose I was going to do, is there something else I can do? Okay, what can I do? Right, how would I facet it? Let's say data diamonds. Okay, attach diamonds. Okay, names of diamonds. Caret cut color. So let me do A is equal to ggplot. Here the data is diamonds, right? The color is, I can say cut, and I can say x-axis as price, y-axis as caret, I need to be case sensitive. Right? Look at this. Then A plus geometric point. Basically this is the base layer. On top of that I have just specified the type of map layer. So you can see cut, fair, gold, very good, premium, ideal, right? I can also do a facet grid plus facet underscore grid and define this by, say, color. Here the color is different, it's the color of the diamond, okay? Is this okay or is this an error? Object rows not found. Invalid formula. What should I do? Right. Single facet underscore grid. Facets. What if facet is nothing? Formula with the rows. So you need to put this dot and this, right? Okay, dot and so you can see in this analysis these are the different colors. Within each of them I am looking at different cuts based on color, you know, the dots. Then within that I can see the prices, which is the expensive diamonds and what are the inexpensive diamonds. So this will be inexpensive diamonds, right? Suppose I change the point, right? Suppose I change the point from A, X, Y is the price and X is the carat, okay? Then I did geo point, right? Now I can see, compare prices more easily, right? It makes sense to do it because carat size is relatively limited. If I did this, I don't look at cut at all. I just look at this. So compare this, right? I have faceted it, the price with regard to the carat size. Now compare this with this. Color, and now there are two representations of the same site, you know. Here I broke them into 5 parts or the number of colors, right? Here I have put them in the same, but I have distinguished them based on the color function. There is a lot to explore in ggplot. Let's go to library deducer. First I do library JJR. Then okay, do library deducer. Notice this data analysis packages. Now look at the analysis tab. You can do frequencies, descriptives, linear model, right? Generalized linear model. So let's look at data 1, data 2, or then do say data diamonds. We can also look at merge data. It's quite easy to select first data frame, select second data frame, right? And we can find the common variables, okay, using merge in deducer. But I'm not interested in data right now. I'm not interested in analysis. Let's say I could do a linear model. Diamonds, I can say price, the outcome, and numeric would be carat, right? And say table and depth, and as factor would be cut, color, clarity. I can do a subset also. Suppose I want to simplify the model, I can remove color, I can just say I want it to be based on, yeah. Yeah, just I'll come to it. Give me 2 minutes. Right, this will give you the regression model, right? But we are not going to go into this right now, we'll go into this later. First let's go for the package plots. Just look at this plot builder. I'm doing a scatter plot, right? On diamonds I put X as carat, Y as price, right? Here I can do this. Then look into the geometric elements. I can change the geometric as elements. I can change the statistics. I can even change the facets. Let's say I did grid, edit the grid, right? I can even put it on a polar coordinates. Right? So you can see as the distance varies, I can remove that. You can change the theme. Why is this so easy to do? Because these are just layers on top of each other. So I can do a group dot plot. I did a scatter, right? Then I change the theme. I can make a AB line here. So you can put diamonds X as carat, Y density, price. Okay. Right. Or you can change the type of graph to just a density graph and look at diamonds, look at price, remove this, yeah, and you can see the price value here. But you can explore this, for further. You can do facet, let's say facet wrap, and reset this also. Okay, so you can do, more importantly, you can view the call. Let's say did a group histogram with the x-axis of price. Right? Right? So you can see how price varies. If you do a histogram of 2D, look at price and carat. You can see how they would range in terms of color and price. Clearly, it seems to be ending here, where most of the things are at a lower carat, lower price. Let's do a group density plot. Diamonds, say price, and group by color. Right? So I can look at various colors and how their distribution are. I can also go to tools, view the call. This will give me the code. Okay? Go to tools, view the call. I can also create a template. And I can also, build multiple graphs on top of each other. So I can say density, diamond, just price. So you can see other colors are there, and this is the black color is the overall density for the prices, right? Where density is the relative frequency. I can do combination graphs using this technique, and it's very easy to do because of a GUI. Okay. So we have done lattice and we have done, let's do some spatial. Library ggmap. Okay, now let's do geocode. So let's do geocode of say Chandni Chowk. Chandni Chowk. It will give you the exact longitude and latitude of the word. It works as the same way a Google Maps. So if you go to Google Maps and search for a place, that this is what it will give you. Let's do this for the point we are sitting right now. This classroom. This will give you the exact longitude and latitude to 5 digits to this place. OpenStreetMap. You can do that using Leaflet. There is another package called Leaflet. But let's do this. Let's do a QMap of this. So first of all, I need to do a get map. Get map, then I'll say ggmap. So this will give me the long lat. Suppose I want to change the zoom level, I can say get map zoom is equal to 15. You see that is the API call to the Google Maps API. So I have now a better this. Suppose I want to do even more. Get underscore map, then the search string, then do the ggmap. Right? So this will give me a even better. What can I do with this? I can plot data on top of it. But I need to have data points encoded in terms of longitude and latitude. So if you remember the spatial things, I can say number of deaths, number of malaria cases, number of dengue cases. Doing this, I can find out where mosquitoes are or where the disease outbreak is. Do you know what is the origin of spatial maps? They're generally done in military campaigns. As the army is moved, you have to plot the data. Which army is at what point, how many soldiers are at what point. That is the origin. Let's do library raster. Okay. Then what we'll do is we'll get data from the GADM, which is the General Administrative Database, country India level 3, or we can do it for any other country. Let's say I can do it for Canada, right? Level 3. The amount of detail is given by the level, right? So I use the function get data from which database? GADM, then country by the country name, then level equal to 3. Okay, I can also try and do this like this. Get data with the capital D. No, there has to be a certain code. Then do this. So you need to put country equal to Canada, level equal to 3. If you do that, you can do it for India, IND. This is almost 30 MB. So let me do it for India, level 3. If I do that, I will get a 6.2 MB download. Okay, the code is this: get data, GADM, country equal to India. GADM is the name of the database. Country is equal to IND, level is equal to 3. Notice the API call level is equal to 3. The level 3, level 2, level 1, there are the various kinds of administrative boundaries, state level, county level. So let's say do GADM data. This is the this is from the GADM.org, global administrative areas, right? If I want to download it, I can click, say, let's say India. The file format is also R spatial polygon date format. I can do OK. Then you can see level 0, level 1, level 2, level 3. This is the basic level. This is the more, detailed level, right? So when I do this, look at the URL biogeo.ucdavis.edu data GMD, right? That is what I am able to do in this biogeo.ucdavis.edu GADM2. So this function is just simply constructing the request for the GADM package, then country, and the level is 3. Once you do that, if you do a head of GADM, you will get PID, ID, ISO, name, but you will also get the state name underscore 1, name underscore 2, which is the district, and this finally is the taluk, right? Now if you do a table of name underscore 1, you will get the various state levels. Now within this I can do subset. Why I can do subset? I want to do analysis only one. So let me just do it for Gujarat, or let me do it for, say, Maharashtra. Maharashtra has 307. So I specify that underscore name 1 should be Maharashtra, subset it, okay. Then I look at the length. Why am I looking at the length? I am creating some dummy data here. What dummy data am I doing? I am sampling 1 to 5. And how many samples? The length, right? Because I want each row to be populated with a certain dummy data, replace equal to true. And what are the labels? Labels are letters 1 to 5. If I do just letters 1 is to 5, this is A, B, C, D, E. Just do letters, right? So I'm labeling 1 to 5. I just want to label it by 5 things, okay? And this I want to random sample. So what will happen if I do sampling of 1 to 5 and do it 200 times and replace is false? You cannot take a sample larger than the population. It has to be true, which means that every time it will sample between 1 to 5 and it will take 200 such samples, right? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, so 5, 4, 2, 1. So this is random sampling. I'm creating random data here. So I have done this and then I have put it as a factor, right? I want to create as a factor. So GADM underscore Maharashtra, right? right? Then I do this. Now if I look at the data, I will find that I have created dummy data here, you know, new factor level data, A, B, C, D, D, A, F. The function I am going to use is SPplot. So I am going to do SPplot on this data, only on these columns, and the color I am going to use is from the color brewer set 3, right? Use these options. So if I zoom it, I can see that each and every taluk is a different color randomly. Now what if this was done if you had real data? Well, then you would need that real data to have a unique ID, right, like the taluk. Then you would need to create a factor out of it, right, and it should be like factor 1:5, right? You need certain levels because you can't color to all the levels or all the 307 levels, right? Right? So you use factor to reduce the number of levels, colors. Then you used SPplot. So based on this, you can plot out, say, rainfall last year versus this year in a certain administrative area, number of malaria cases versus this number of malaria cases. You can also say, you know, electricity demand this year, that year, and order them by the color. This is much more easier to understand than to understand 307 rows on this side, 307 rows on that side, right? You can also use different color shadings, you know. Let's say you call this, okay, so you can use different color shading and look at how the colors have changed, you know, in terms of intensity. Is it becoming darker? Is it becoming lighter? Which parts have become darker? Which parts have become lighter? So you can see how the relative, you know, function is. So in this session, we'll do data mining and regression modeling. Let's go to R Commander. We load up R Commander using library R Commander. Yeah, we load up R Commander using library R Commander. Do you have R Commander loaded up? You should be able to see the screen. Then let's take a data set, say read data set from an attached package, right? Let's call it let's take library mass. We'll choose it from the library mass. And first install the library mass. Or you can even load up your own big diamond dataset. So load up that, but it will take you more time just to create the model. Okay. So we are going to read the Boston data set. It's also known as housing. just import data from a text file. Okay, local file system, commas, go to desktop. Let's go to adult, let's say adult data. Okay, now I can view the data set. Yeah, you can see that the name import has not come correctly, so I should have looked at header is equal to false. Go back again, import data from text file, variable name is file no, right, dataset 2, commas, adult dataset. Okay, now if I look at the dataset, I can see this is V1, V2, V3, and I'm trying to predict the last variable, which is less than V15 as a function of other variables, right? So V9 is ethnicity, V10 is gender, right? V14 is country of origin, V15 is salary, right? Yeah, from the online. Let's do another thing. Let's click the big diamond data from the bit.ly.com/dsdata. bit.ly.in bit.ly/dsdata. Where did I get this data? I got this data from here. bit.ly/dsdata. Okay, in the data option. Download this to a locally, then load it using the data tab, import data. So you can see this has 598024 rows and 12 columns. You can do data, right? Data in packages, active data set, variables and active data sets from here. You can say remove cases with missing data, include all variables, right? So it will do na.omit. So it has removed some 4,300 rows. Then you can bin numeric variables if you want. Let's take a numeric variable like price and call it new variable, right? Number of bins being 10. Equal count. Bin name okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6. So now a new variable has been created. If I go to data, active data set, and say variable and active data set, I see a new variable has been created, variable, right? I can do statistics, frequency distributions for the new variable, as this is, all of them are roughly in the same count, right? I can do summaries, numerical summaries. I can say price summarized by group, say color, okay, and I can get this mean, standard deviation, interquartile range. I am here to do models, so I am going to fit model do a linear regression model. So I'm going to say price as a function of caret depth table. Obviously I should not do price itself. Click OK. Notice this comes here as in the active model, right? I find out the p values. 3 star is good, low star is bad. Adjusted R square is 0.7334, right? P value is okay. Adjusted R square is R square adjusted for the number of variables. What is R square? R square explains the variance in the dependent variable explained as a combination of the independent variables. So it means 73% of the variance in price is explained by these three variables. Okay. Now go to models. I can do numerical diagnostics VIF. The VIF is low. What is VIF low means? It means there is no multicollinearity. If there is high multicollinearity, you need to drop a certain variable. Go to models, numerical diagnostics, Bonferroni outlier test. You will be able to see, rows where which are outliers, right? Now what if I want to delete a certain row? I can take this, I can say data, manage variables, delete variables from data set, or right, remove rows from active data set. So I can say index, okay, overwrite. Notice 593784 rows used to be there, now 83. So that is overlayer is removed. Also numerical diagnostics. Notice I have to build the model again. So I go to statistics, fit models, linear regression. See price, function of caret depth table. Okay. Right. There is not much change because I only removed one outlier. But I see the models there are two models. I can pick one or pick two. Okay. And the model equations are here by the parameter estimates. So minus 42727 plus 13718 into caret minus 12.587 into depth minus 15.917 into table is equal to price as per this model, which is explaining how much? It's explaining 73% of this model, or sorry, 73% of the variance in price, right? Now I can go to models, numerical diagnostics. Let's look at heteroscedasticity, right? I can say I look at variables to formula, say or just the explanatory variables. Click OK. It will just look at the price, caret and depth. Then it will say OK if there is no heteroscedasticity. What is heteroscedasticity? If variance is changing. Okay. Now let's look at another kind of model, linear model. Here I can say price plus caret plus depth plus sort as a factor plus clarity as a factor plus color as a factor plus cut as a factor. Okay, apply. Notice the function is still LM. Okay. Now look, I am able to get different equations, right? Now this basically reduces it to 1 or 0. For this model, if the cert is TEGL, then it is 1, otherwise it's 0. So you will have different values of the model, right? This is a linear model. Notice the R square would increase. Okay. Go for numerical diagnostics, VIF. You will see that in VIF is not that great. VIF is variance inflation factor. It is above 3, then you need to remove that model. This is linear regression in a basic form, right? Okay. Now read data set from an attached package. Let's say, let's call it I can change the active data set, select active data set, right? I can change it from any other form. So let me do the console and do library mass and data Boston. Now I can go to this and just say data, active data set, select active data set, look at Boston. Okay. Now first of all I need to look at what are the variables in the active data set. Data, active data set, variables in active data set. I see this is the variables. Here I am trying to predict price, which is MEDV, as a function of crime, zone, industrial area, whether the river is there or not, right? I can seek help on the data set using single question mark Boston. It has 506 rows and 14 columns. CRIM is per capita crime rate. Zone is proportion of area zoned for lots over 25,000 square feet. Basically it will mean, you know, what proportion is occupied by very big lots. Indus is proportion of non-retail business or industrial. Charles is Charles River dummy. If the river is there, it's 1. If the river is not there, it is 0. NOx is pollution, nitrogen oxide parts per 10 million. RM is rooms per dwelling. Age is the proportion of occupied units built prior to 1940s. So it's a proportionate age. This is mean of distance to 5 Boston employment area. Obviously you want the closer the distance, the lesser is your commute, which means the better it is and hence the pricier it will be. RAD would be index of accessibility. Remember, you will not get data as such as clean as this. You will have, you know, just the location. Then you will have to build in these variables if you are calculating your own price calculation. PT ratio is pupil teacher ratio by town for that particular town, and black is where the BK is the proportion of blacks by town, where MEDV is the median value of ownership in thousands of dollars. So we are trying to predict or at least look at the MEDV. So looks at fit models. Let's do MEDV. To do explanatory variables, pick one or more, press the control key. Okay. Do not set it, put MEDV in the response and explanatory variable, because it obviously, you know, gives perfect explanation. So leaving MEDV for the initial model, select everything. Okay, then apply. Okay, right? Now you can see some of them have low value of significance, right? So this is better than this. Also, you can go R square is 0.7338. Go for models, hypothesis test, numerical diagnostics, various inflation factors. You have to delete the ones with the high VIF. So RAD has to go. Why? Why do you think RAD has to go? Well, index of accessibility, you know, to highway should be the highly collinear to the distance to the industrial, you know, distance to the employment zones. So I am going to build the model again, right, linear regression, and I am going to press control to remove RAD, right. Then I will say OK. So it's 0.7228, adjusted R square has come down, and and then I need to look at crime and black because they have low significance value, and tax. So do statistics again. Modeling is basically a iterative process. You rebuild the model again and again. Okay. Now I see that I have removed 4 variables, but the adjusted R square is still an acceptable 0.71, right? I need to look at Indus, and so let's go for linear regression. Age, Indus, okay, 0.7157 again. Now this is looking better, right? Look at the zone. It's still acceptable? No, it's not acceptable. Let's remove zone. Okay, so 0.7124, and now the model is just 6 variables, right? Now let's look at numerical diagnostics, various inflation factors. They seem to be okay as well, though pollution seems to be high. So you may think of removing pollution or you may not. It's your call. Another call that you may want to do is look at Charles River. You may want to create a segmented model, create a separate model for Charles River equal to 1 and create a separate model for Charles River equal to 2. So do statistics, fit model, linear regression, and subset as Chas equal to 1. Okay. So it's not coefficient 1 not defined. So subset Charles not defined below singularities. You can look into subsetting, try it out. Yeah. So now if you see, the model is completely changed, and if you say fit model linear regression, Charles equal to 0. So the model for non-river tracts and river tracts is completely different. So this is, you need to look into segmented models as well. Okay, but it is important to look at what are things are important. The variables, what are important? Room, teachers, pupil teacher ratio, right? Yeah, distance to employment, and LSTAT. What is LSTAT? Lower status of the population. So people would want to live in an area which is posh, where they are rich people. That affects the price. Or if everybody is poor, then you are also, the price of the property falls. That's what the model is saying. In that, you need to look into what is there. So I am going to go to statistics and Charles equal to 1. Because let's say I want a condition, I want a river facing this only. So I am going to redo the model again, right? So modeling, you don't build one model and just apply it. You have to go for various applying it. Okay. Now you will see which all variables are coming. Only variables which seem to be significant are crime and pollution, right? Almost nothing is, and adjusted R square is 0.763, but the multiple R square is 0.48, right? So look at statistics, statistics, fit models. So let's do this. You have to be careful for one thing, which is overfitting. What is overfitting? Now, if you do it only with 2 variables, this seems to be okay, at least with pollution. But what is bad is only 31% of the prices, variance in prices explained. So this is clearly not satisfactory. Maybe river itself is not a good segment to choose on. you can segment on some other things, right? Which, right, we can come to that. One way of doing segmentation or doing this is clustering, right? How do I do cluster? I do it using the k-means option. Okay. So let me find out what is k-means. Single question mark k-means. It performs k-means clustering on a data matrix where X is the data frame, this is the centers. So let's say if I was to divide Boston 2 equal to k-means Boston and divide it in 5. So if I do head of Boston 2, I will get these values. These are the centers of clustering and this is the cluster. So if I do Boston 2 cluster, $cluster, I will be able to look into what cluster these have been defined into, right? What is clustering? It is unsupervised learning because there is no tag. I'm just looking at similarity and dissimilarity, right? So if I do table of Boston 2 clustering, right, I can see there are 5 clusters. Why are there 5 clusters? Because I specified it upfront, right? Now I might want to do pricing based on this. How can I do this? I can say cbind, which is column bind Boston 3 is equal to cbind Boston and Boston $2 cluster, right? So if I do head of Boston 3, right, I can find this. Now when I do a model, right, so if I go back here to data, select active data set Boston 3, right, and I can do statistics, fit models, linear regression, right. We can find response variable as same MEDV, age, black, Charles, crime, dist. No, I can't put that as this because I should not. Yeah, so I need to remove that. In the subset, I need to say Boston 2 dot cluster, Boston 2 dot cluster equal to 5. Okay. This might give me very different results, right? So this is an approach using called segmented, cluster segmented modeling. I've built clusters, then I've built models on specifically on each cluster. Let's do this, more of this using the Rattle dataset. Now in the Rattle dataset, I can choose from spreadsheet, right, library, right, or ODBC. ODBC can be a connection, right, from a database. So let's look for library. Taking some time because it's loading it. Let's load the weather data set. Okay. So let's look at wine, the wine data set. Okay. Now these are the various kinds of parts of columns of the wine. This is color, hue, the chemicals. The target variable is by definition type. Okay. You can see at the bottom classification models are enabled. You can click execute, right? Now look at the partition. Why do we do partitioning? Why we do partitioning? So that we avoid the problem of overfitting. What is overfitting? Overfitting is I build the model on the data and the model works well on the data, but when fresh data comes in, it will have some random variation. It will not work good on that. So in order to do that, I partition the data, build the model on that, then apply it on the holdout portion. The holdout portion I apply and then see how the model is performing. That still gives me some idea of how the model will be stable. If I do look at seed, every time I put seed is the same, I will get the same row numbers. So if I want to change that, I can change the seed also. So I can change the partition proportion and I can change the seed proportion. 70 is training, validation and testing in that order. They must add up to 100 in terms of percentages. Okay. Now if I do cluster, I can do k-means cluster. I can say number of clusters. So I can say number of clusters, right? 11. This will give me the mean. What is the cluster size in the 11 clusters? Then it will give you the mean alcohol, mean things in the cluster centers, right? And I can look at the plot at the data. So this is how the different clusters are in colors. Look at discriminant. Right? I can also click on iterate cluster. Suppose I don't know, right? It iterates over the number of clusters up to the specified. So I need to say 15. I'll click to iterate cluster because I don't know how many clusters to build. So I'll say click, right? This is the plot. So you can see the sum of squares within squares and the difference. So the difference flattens out after number of clusters 7, right? After 7, it is almost the same. So means at the most I should go in for 7 clusters. I can also do hierarchical clustering, execute, right? And then I look at the dendrogram. A dendrogram is, this is a dendrogram. This is one cluster which contains all the data. These are 2 clusters. This is 1, 2, 3 cluster. So on till n. Yeah, till the number of each, till each point is n. So based upon this, I have reached 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clusters, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clusters, or 7 clusters. Based upon this, I can say how many clusters I want to reach. Maybe 4 clusters is good, right? Because 4 clusters will give me this separation, this separation, this separation, and this entire separation. If I go for 7 clustering, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 cluster is around here, right? So number of clusters is 7. Click execute. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? At this point, I can see the separation is quite nice. So let me put in 7 clusters in Rattle. K-means, and use the H-class centers, the centers from the H-cluster. Not click on iterate clusters, click execute, right? Then look at discriminant. This is the discriminant props. You can see the different colors show the different clusters. Yeah, this is clustering. Let's look at modeling, right? For modeling we need some kind of regression data, right? What's the difference between classification and regression? In classification, the target variable is categorical. In regression, the target variable is numeric. If it is linear numeric, then it is linear regression. But if it is discrete, then it is logistic regression. You can also call logistic regression as a special case of classification, but there are only two categories. So let's go for, let's say, the Boston data set again. Okay, click execute. Now I need to, by default it is put target as chas. So I need to change this and make the target variable the MEDV. Notice it says target is chas classification. Now I need to click execute again. 506 observation, 13 input variables, the target is MEDV, numeric regression model enabled. If you are wondering where the code is going, the code is in the log. So all the code is in the log. Do I want to create a partition? Yeah, let's do a partition. Then I can go to model. This is linear regression, right? And this is generalized regression. You can see the definition of linear regression, right? Here. You can also say decision trees. So this is very easy, this makes it very easy for beginners in data mining to learn. I can also click on all. Let's just go for linear regression. I can see linear regression, and based on this, now what if I want to ignore certain variables like I did in R Commander? I will just say, okay, based upon my model, I should ignore tax, I should ignore black. So let me ignore black and let me ignore tax, right? Redo this, execute. Okay, now model, linear model, right? Look at the plots. The plots are generated here. These are residuals. What is residuals? The difference from error, the predicted versus actual. And you can see some of them are outliers. Some outliers are also there, so you can remove them, right? Let's say I want to do all, right? Click execute. Notice it will, it's just taken 3.05 seconds. You can do a plot, you can do this, draw, and look at, this is price. So based on LSTAT, what was LSTAT? Remember what was LSTAT? LSTAT was lower status of the population. So the first thing is lower status. Is greater than 0, then this. Then lower status this. Then if rooms are less than 7.4, it makes a distinct this. If rooms are 6.8, right? 6.6. So it seems LSTAT, crime, rooms, these are the important variables for a decision tree. This is a brief summary of data mining. If you want to do customized, you can go to data and say R data set, right? A pre-existing R data set for you. So you clean it up and then you load it using the pre-R data set. And all this is in, for example, correlation. You want to do correlation, you can do correlation, execute. you can look at core plot. Right. So you can remove the variables from ignore tab. If you want to ignore cases, you can ignore, you can remove cases to clean up, delete, ignore, delete selected, right, delete missing. But this is only for a clean up with missing values or clean up with columns. If you want to delete certain rows, then you will have to go to R console, delete it, and then reload it using our data set. Okay, so that's all for this session.